I don't think anyone can deny the importance and convenience of having an external video monitor for shooting any sort of video, even on small-scale productions. Cheap monitors from yesteryear were good enough to get you started, but even after using something a little nicer with more features, those cheap alternatives left you wanting more. You disappoint me. The Feelworld F6 PLUS seems to want to change that. Sure, it's not the cheapest option on the market, but with even more features than our Focus HD, it's trying really hard to be your next go-to monitor. Will it be ours? Let's find out. Speaking of essential tools, Sountripe. Access their large music and sound effects library with 200 new songs every month and unlimited licensing for one low monthly or yearly subscription fee. Plus, get 10% off your new account when you use code Neverland at checkout. Before we get started, I think it's important to address the elephant in the room. This monitor has obviously been, if we're being generous, heavily inspired by the Focus HD line of monitors, and as such, I don't think I'll be able to avoid making references to it throughout this video. But I'll actually try to approach this as its own product as well. So let's start, as always, with a physical tour. The monitor itself is unapologetically made of plastic with a glass screen that goes right to the edges, giving it a modern look, while perhaps sacrificing a little durability as there is no bumper to protect it from falls. Oops. On the plus side, glass won't scratch as easily. No, we don't plan to do a hardness test either. Sorry. The bezels are not too large, but not too small either, especially if you've gotten used to modern phone bezels. That would be nice to see, but maybe it would interfere with sunshades. In this case, one is included that velcros onto this frame that then clips onto the monitor. Nothing to rave about here. We haven't used it, but we don't shoot outside too often either. You'll also find a power indicator here in the front, a small red LED that lets you know the monitor is receiving power, and it turns green when it's powered on. At the top, you'll find the power/touch button. You hold for power and press to toggle the touchscreen input. There is no passive indicator, however. So if you touch the screen and nothing happens, the monitor might be broken, or the lock might be on. Press it to find out. In the middle, there is a 1/4-inch threaded mount, and on the right, a wheel/button that lets you access a non-customizable quick setting menu by pressing it, or the full menu by holding it. You can access all settings just with this wheel, but the touchscreen is a faster alternative. Coming down the right side, there's another 1/4-inch mount and nothing else. This is the more popular mounting point, as you can use the included L-mount bracket that lets you rotate the monitor along the X-axis and quickly adjust for high or low shooting. A design and feature the SmallHD popularized and did it better, though this is quite good as well. On the bottom, there's a full-size SD card slot for loading LUTs and firmware updates, a 12-volt DC input, though you can also power it with 7.4 volts as well, another 1/4-inch mounting hole, and a headphone jack, perfect for cameras that don't come with one. Unlike other cheaper monitors, there are no internal speakers, which honestly, I'd put it on the pros list. Those are always bad and can even ruin shots if you forget to mute the monitor. Such an unnecessary feature. On the left, we have a full-size HDMI in and a separate out. An 8-volt power out that can power a Pocket 4K, unlike the original SmallHD, which can only power it for a couple of seconds. This is also the only side without a mounting hole. And finally, on the back, there's an NPF mount that also accepts Canon LP batteries, if you wish to change batteries as much as you would on your pocket cameras. If you are a Focus HD user, you might be impressed by the extra ports this monitor has. It's not as clean looking, nothing is inset or protected, which you may find worse, and it might be in the long run. But it also means there are no proprietary cables. Any cheap third party will work, something I find more helpful than a cleaner look. You might also notice it's bigger than the Focus HD at 5.5. It's not a huge difference. I'd say it's nicer to use, though the size difference is not as noticeable on bigger cameras like the Pocket 4K, where if you plan to use this on a smaller mirrorless camera, the extra size might become more apparent. To my surprise, the brightness difference was also not that noticeable. The Feelworld is only 500 nits. That's about 40% darker than the original Focus HD, but ever so slightly brighter than the OLED version, which caps at 350 nits. While we're talking about feature differences, this monitor does not have an auto image flip when you rotate the screen. An amazing feature from the Focus HD that I always miss when using the F6, especially because of how dumb the manual flip procedure is. Instead of having one menu option for it, you have to adjust two options, either before flipping or while navigating the menu upside down. This makes it unusable as a vlogging monitor. If you plan to film yourself, then quickly flip to film something happening in front of you, and back to yourself again. Something the SmallHD was basically made for. The menu system is also pretty different. Visually similar, but it does not have scenes or pages. You can't save the arrangements of tools you've selected, then swipe to a different set of tools, or a clean feed like you can on the Focus. By contrast, on the Feelworld, you don't get to pick the location or size of the tools and scopes on screen. You do have all the important ones. Color picker and image capture, overlay seem to be the only ones I see missing. For me, the usability of each tool is just not as nice at all. I mean, the monitor gets pretty hot under normal use, and it even makes using the touchscreen uncomfortable. It's kind of worrisome sometimes, but this is a feature the Atmos Shinobi seems to have as well, so whatever. All of that said, I bet you're thinking, well, maybe the Focus is worth the extra $100. And in my opinion, based on what I just said, and if those features and usability is valuable to you, yeah, it is, sure. However, we found ourselves using the Feelworld a lot more than the Focus recently for a couple of reasons. Mainly because the Focus can't power the Pocket, and that is where we use the small monitors the most. We shoot mostly inside. We don't really rely as much on the scopes and tools because the Pocket has its own. And recording RAW, we don't have to worry as much about that stuff, though we probably should. The HDMI pass-through allows us to use a wireless transmitter or monitor a live stream setup. The point is that when looking at these monitors as a first impression, it's fair to say they are competitors and very similar. And they are in a lot of ways, but I'd argue they're also rather different, and as such, the question is not which is better overall. They are for different purposes and different people. If you're a professional that relies a lot on scopes and other tools of the like, get the Focus HD. You'll have a much smoother time with it, and as long as you're not powering something like the Pocket 4K, then you'll enjoy using this monitor. I mean, they also have an SDI version, while this straight doesn't. If you're a vlogger that needs something compact, light, and durable, like me, the Focus is a great choice. However, if you need a simpler monitor that you'll use to power the Pocket line of cameras, and maybe you don't rely as much on tools, or if you need that HDMI pass-through for streaming or wireless transmission, this is not a bad bet. Actually, wait a second, no. Don't get this at all. This is terrible. Get the second version. It's cheaper, has auto image flip, and you can even power it through USB-C. Why the heck did we even make this video?
All joking aside, this seems to be a bigger problem than originally anticipated. If we search on Amazon for F6 PLUS, the fourth result is the first to mention the new version, and even then, neither the product description or the pictures suggest this is the right product. So I'd avoid Amazon altogether. I don't understand why they're still making this first version at all. Maybe it's just leftover stock. In any case, eBay, Adorama, and V&H seem to have the new version for much cheaper, making this a great value. And as always, I'll leave links down in the description. Alright, that's all from me.
In all seriousness, the V2 seems to address my most stringent complaints when using this monitor. I could now even confidently recommend it to vloggers looking for something affordable and easy to use, especially if you tend to keep your camera setting on auto. The Focus HD then is a great entry for high-end prosumers and even professionals, while the F6 Plus is a great tool for enthusiasts, prosumers, or backup units for pros. But what do you think? Do you own an F6 Plus? Agree or disagree with our thoughts on this device? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on our next video, and we'll see you guys next time. There's an elephant in the room. Nobody move. Elephant. Big diamond and sapphire elephant in the room. Ooh. This chair is super squeaky. It's harder than I thought. Okay, bye.